Okay, this problem in my eyes is the hardest problem on the benchmark. So here we go. First part has you complete the table by setting up a series of equal fractions or ratios that you're going to crisscross multiply. So this first one, I'm just going to keep it set up as is on the table. So I'm going to set it up as one fraction 15 over a equal to the other fraction 10 over 20. I'm going to have it match this table exactly to keep things easy to find that missing term right there. So again, if I set it up as 15 over a equal to 10 over 20, that gives me the fraction to crisscross multiply. So I'm going to multiply a times 10 and 15 times 20. And that's going to give me 10a equal to whatever 15 times 20 is. So if I multiply on my calculator 15 times 20, it gives me, I believe, 300. Next, to get this a by itself, this is 10 times a. So the opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. If I divide 10 on this side of my equation, I have to make sure I divide 10 on the other side of my equation as well. When I divide 300 by 10, so 300 on my calculator first, divided by 10 second, I get 30. So that is the number that goes right here in that second batch of cookies. How many ounces of brown sugar were used? So 30 ounces were used. All right, for my next one, again, keep the ratio the same. Follow the pattern in the table. So I'm going to set it up as 75 over a equal to 50 over 70. So when I set up as 75 over a, first fraction 75 over the unknown a number equal to the other fraction 50 over 70. So I'm setting up exactly as is. Crisscross multiply. So a times 50 is going to give me 50a. And then 75 times 70 on my calculator. Gives me 5,250. Now the opposite of timesing by 50 right here is dividing both sides by 50. So that'll cancel away and give me a. So again on my calculator, 5,000 number first divided by the 50 number second gives me 105. So that number goes right here in my table. All right, my next one, again, to solve for this unknown, keep the ratio same pattern as the table. So I'm going to set it up as 105 over 35 equal to 70 over a. And then I will crisscross multiply here. So I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. So again, 105 over 35 equal to 70 over a. So I'm going to crisscross multiply there. 105 times a, I'm always going to write the variable on my left side here. So that's going to give me 105 times a equal to, and then on my calculator, 135 times 70. Which gives me 9,450 divided by 105. Gives me the last term for that table, which is 90. So that goes right here. So that is part A, using equal ratio fractions, the crisscross and then divide to fill in the table. Part A. Part B is the hardest part on the whole test, I believe. They want you to go down to the 10th batch of cookies and find out how many ounces you're using, and then use that unit rate to change from ounces to pounds, and then know that 1 pound or 5 pounds equal to 1 bag. So there's some conversions here that we're going to practice next week, but this is just a little glimpse of what we're going to be doing. So my conversions are tough. First conversion is the 16 ounces equal to 1 pound. 16 ounces in a pound. Remember, you could set this, since these are equal, you could set it up as 16 ounces over a pound, or you'll see later in the video, you could flip-flop this, because it's okay, because they're equal, to write it as 1 pound over 16 ounces. So we're going to use that conversion. We're also going to use the conversion 1 bag is equal to 5 pounds. So we're going to use that conversion too. First thing I'm going to do though is use the table's pattern to figure out how many ounces of cookies in the 10th batch. So what I did here for my batches, I listed it all out by ones just so you could see really what's going on with this pattern here, and then that will let me easily find how many ounces for brown sugar and then ounces for white sugar, and then I'll use those two numbers to finish up this problem. So one batch, 15 ounces of brown sugar, 10 ounces of white sugar. When I fill out the table there, I figured out that the next value is 30 and then 20 using the crisscross pattern. This is going to let me fill out the rest of the pattern here. So what I do here, or the table, what I do is find out my change from one to the other for both brown and white sugar. I could see that from here to here it's going up by 15. So my next number for brown sugar will take this 30 and add 15 to it to get that number. For my white sugar, again, I can see this is going up by 10 right here. So to find this next term, I just take 20 and add 10 to it to get that. So knowing that, 30 plus 15, this is going to be 45. 20 plus that 10 right there is going to make this next number 30. So here we go. Following that pattern, adding 15 to each brown sugar step and adding 10 to the white sugar step. So here we go. 30 plus 15, 45. 20 plus 10, 30. Keep going. 30 plus this 10 is going to give me 40. 45 plus 15 is going to give me this next term, 60. So here we go. 30 plus 10, 40. 45 plus 15 gives me 60. And then I'm just going to keep going down straight here to keep going. So 60 plus 15, 75. 40 plus 10, 50. And then you can see, there it is right there. 7550 matches up that table. Just I've shown you the values in between 2 and 5 right there. So again, there it is right there. I know I'm on the right track. Keep going. So 75 plus 15, 90. 90 plus 15 gives me 105. There it is, 7th term right there, 7th batch. 105 plus 15, 120. 120 plus 15 gives me 135. There it is, the 9th batch, 135. And then the all-important number, 10 batches of cookies, 150 ounces using 135 plus 15. To finish out the white column, adding by 10. So there it is, 105.70. Keep going, adding by 10. 135.90. There it is. And now the all-important number for white sugar ounces, 100. Now I'm going to use those two numbers to change from ounces to pounds, and then know that there's 5 pounds in a bag to finish out this problem here. So I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. Sorry about the grouping. So there we go. Those are the all-important numbers right there. How many ounces of brown sugar for 10 batches of cookies? How many ounces of white sugar? So I'm going to do the brown sugar bags first. So my conversions I'm going to use, I got a couple here. I'm going to go 150 ounces. That's how much for brown sugar. But I need to change that to pounds. So I'm going to use, instead of this conversion right here, I'm going to flip this over and write it as 1 pound over 16 ounces. Since these are equal, I could flip-flop and write this any way I want. It's still going to be the same unit whether I write it 1 pound over 16 ounces or 16 ounces over 1 pound. They are equal either way I write it, but I write it like this so my ounce units cancel away. We're going to be looking at that next week for sure. So that conversion right there, we'll change it to pounds, and then I need to do one more conversion and figure out how many bags, because there's 5 pounds in a bag. So my next conversion is to use, for this, I'm going to use 5 pounds for every 1 bag, because she's buying sugar in 5 pounds bags. So those pound units will go away. And again, showing the conversions I'm using here. So I could use 16 ounces over 1 pound, or I could use 1 pound over 16 ounces. Those are equal, so I could write them either way as a fraction and still have it be equal. So for my problem here, it wouldn't make sense to use 16 ounces on top and 1 pound on the bottom because the ounces wouldn't cancel. So I'm going to use this one instead because I can. And with that way, the ounce units will cancel away. For my pound bag unit, I know that in 1 bag there are 5 pounds. And again, I could write this 5 pounds per 1 bag if I wanted to. I could flip-flop this if I wanted to. But because of this problem here, I want to use it 1 bag over 5 pounds to have my pound units cancel away. So once my pound units cancel away and just leave me my bag units, how many bags, I time straight across with my calculator, and that gives me 150 over 16 times 5. So again, using my calculator, 150 over 16 times 5, which is 300. I'm sorry, 80. And if I divide 150 by 80, it will tell me how many bags of brown sugar I need. So 150 divided by 80 gives me on my calculator 1.875 bags. And since we live in a reality-based world, I will need to buy 2 whole bags to cover this. So I'm okay. I'm going to have a little bit extra, but I wouldn't want to buy just 1 bag because I wouldn't have enough. I need at least 2 bags of brown sugar for this 10 batches of cookies. Again, I need exactly this many bags, but again, in the real world, you're not going to be able to buy that part of a bag. You're going to have to buy a whole bag. So 2 whole bags. All right, next, I'm going to do the same for the white sugar. So for the white sugar, I'm going to use 100 ounces needed for 10 batches. So I'm going to change that 100 ounces to pounds, and then I'm going to change pounds to bags like I did for the brown sugar. So 100 ounces from that number right there. I'm going to use again the conversion of 1 pound over 16 ounces. So again, 100 ounces of white sugar over 1 times 1 pound over 16 ounces. I want to use that one so my ounce units cancel away. I want an ounce unit on top and bottom to cancel away. So 1 pound per 16 ounces. And then I got to do one more conversion times 5 pounds per 1 bag, or for 1 bag. Again, my ounce units are going to cancel. My pound units are going to cancel. All that's going to be left is bags. Multiply straight across on my calculator. 100 times 1 times 1 is 100. 16 times 5 should give me 80 on the bottom. So if I time that straight across, I'm going to get 100 over 80. And again, if I use my calculator there, that gives me exactly 1.25 bags. And again, you're not going to be able to buy a quarter of a bag. So to cover this recipe, I need to live in reality. I need to buy 2 bags of this white sugar to cover this recipe. So at least 2 bags. Alright, I'm going to do another couple examples here to help you out. Maybe that will. Hopefully. Alright, so for other examples, instead of using 150 ounces of brown sugar, this time I'm going to use 300 ounces and show you what happens. So if I use 300 ounces, again, I'm going to change that to pounds. So I want to use the conversion 1 pound for every 16 ounces. And then I'm going to change that to 1 bag of sugar for every 5 pounds because she's buying 5-pound bags. I'm going to cross off my ounce units, cross off my pound units, times straight across with my calculator. 300 times 1 times 1 is 300. 1 times 16 times 5 gives me 80 on the bottom. So I get 300 divided by 80. When I divide that, I get 3.75. And again, that shows me I need to buy 4 bags total to cover the amount of sugar I need. I wouldn't want to buy 3. I would be short. They're not going to sell me 3/4 of a bag. They're going to sell me whole bags here, so I need at least 4 bags of this brown sugar for 10 batches. Alright, next I'm going to do white sugar, and I'm going to change it to 50, I believe. So if I use 50 ounces here for white sugar instead of 100, let me show you. So 50 ounces, I'm going to use the conversion 1 pound for every 16 ounces. My ounce units are going to cancel. I'm going to multiply that 5 pounds for every 1 bag. My ounce units are going to cancel. My pound units are going to cancel. And I'm going to multiply straight across. 50 times 1 times 1 is 50. 16 times 5 gives me 80 on the bottom. So if I do that, I get 50 over 80, which gives me on my calculator 0.625. And again, living in reality, that means I would need to buy at least 1 bag of this white sugar to cover 10 batches if 50 ounces was needed. So again, 1 bag needed. Hopefully this helps a little bit. I'm here in my room every day for help. Good luck.